Yeah.
Ah.
Yo.
Oh.
Hey.
We?
Huh?
Huh?
That was pretty
honestly, that was like a top 5 joke from Brandon Perna that I've ever heard. So that was an off the dome. Who you said you couldn't do improv? Look at that.
I get one a year. I got one off the cuff joke per year.
It was an excellent joke.
All right, so today's episode is going to be bad because I wasted all my energy on clickbait yesterday.
Yeah, which
sorry guys.
I wasted.
Sorry.
Oh, baby. We here.
Whoa, we steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GP. Devour Feculence. How we doing, folks? Happy Friday.
Oh, I'm J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Not quite my tempo. Not quite.
Faster!
That's what we're going to do. We're actually going to be doing a live drum solo today on GPS. The mics will be right next to the desk, so it'll be a terrible experience for everybody.
Yes.
So, yes. We got a decent amount to talk about today. We're going to go through some free agency grades. And we're not there yet. Free agency grades and try to just be like, all right, this is we agree, we disagree. Because I was just talking to Pern about this. It feels like from where this week started, very quickly got to a screeching halt. And we're still waiting on a couple of big names, right? So we're waiting on, is Micah Parsons going to get that extension? We're waiting on that. T. Higgins, of course, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson. But now stories are coming out. Trey Hendrickson wants to stay in Cincinnati. We'll see if Cincinnati is going to be able to deal with that because apparently there's interested buyers, but the Bengals are asking way too much at this point. So, yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, which I wish that came out during clickbait.
I know. The drama would have been just so sweet. Yeah, we'll go through Pro Football Focus has grades for every team and the most up-to-date list of free agents.
Yes.
And that's what gets tough about free agency is Monday is like heroin, just injected straight into your bloodstream. You are on a high, and you're like, I don't want this to ever end. Tuesday, they take it away from you, and they're like, you want to get your fix today? All you get is caffeine. And it's like, damn, after that heroin I had on Monday, I'm just supposed to get by with caffeine on Tuesday? Wednesday comes around, and they're like, here's some decaf coffee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday, they're like, you are fasting. You get nothing today.
Wow, nothing. Okay.
And now we're on Friday, and we're just starving. And they are dangling Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Kupp, and Russell Wilson, and none of us really want that. We don't even want the leftover free agents. And I don't know. That was a weird analogy.
Food's been sitting too long,
and I was not going to stop. I just wasn't going to stop.
You know what? I appreciate the commitment to it.
I got it. Let's go back to that moment.
We're back. Hey, yeah. So that's another story too. A whole bunch of backup QBs are getting snatched up, which means Minnesota. Are you ready? Are you ready for Aaron Rodgers? Again, I still don't think it's going to happen, but I still think likely it would be Pittsburgh if anybody. But yeah, the backup QBs are going quickly. Gardner Minshew betraying Brandon Perna.
That
ultimate heel turn. You thought John Cena was bad?
That absolute son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, Virginian. That's a great question. So that's an interesting one because apparently Kirk Cousins met with Arthur Blank. Was it Wednesday or something, or was it last week? And they are keeping him as of right now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Because everybody and their mother assumed that they were going to be moving on from Kirk Cousins, and I think that was almost like explicitly said at some point. But yeah, apparently as of right this second, he is remaining with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be interested in trading for him. So either you release him and you pay him a bunch of money to not play at all for you, or you just say, all right, we'll eat it. We'll pay him $40 million. He can be our backup quarterback, which it sucks, but it's not the worst thing to have. Having Kirk Cousins as your security blanket if Michael Penix gets hurt, that's fine. And let's just assume he was a little bit injured last year. Let's say the shoulder thing or elbow thing was real.
Sure.
That caused his arm to be less than effective, to put it mildly.
Like that.
It's a 1 year bad hit, right? Look at the Browns. They're a 1 year bad hit for the next 5 years with Deshaun Watson. So
it's a lot of hits.
I know it kind of sucks, but hey, I'll take Kirk Cousins behind Penix any day. I mean, for 1 day. I'll take it for 1 day.
I feel like, because what's Cousins' contract right now? Let's see.
He's going to get $40 million this year, and then they can move on from him. Something like that. And now they paid him the 10. They can still deal him at this point. And maybe a team like, let's say the Giants don't get Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Maybe the Giants are like, we'll take a veteran like that. Or maybe the Steelers don't get Russ or Rodgers. And they're like, shit, we need Kirk Cousins. We'll give you a draft pick and we'll take on some of his salary.
So after this year, there's no more guaranteed salary. So his cap number is 40 mil. But after this year, it's 0 and 0 for guaranteed after this. So they can move on after a year. That's a great point. Like maybe there is some kind of late contender that's like, hey, let's go and get Kirk Cousins. Like, let's just say maybe the Steelers miss out on somebody, or the Giants go, hey, we're drafting a quarterback, but we want to bring somebody in. It's a lot of money to pay for Kirk Cousins. I don't know if anyone's going to take on that contract, but
no, it'd be like you'd have to go halvesies, little splitsies.
Yeah. Splitsies, little twoies. Moosey update. He is as close to 100% as he could possibly be. My man is eating. He ate like a whole can of food today. The medicine, he's taking that like a champ. And no more puking. He's got normal bowel movements. So thank God. Yeah. After 2 weeks of a lot of gray hair, it seems like Moosey is out from the worst of it. Knock on wood. But
we had the same situation with our cat.
Oh, no. Is Nacho okay?
It was like a few weeks ago, but it was peeing blood in our bathroom. So I'm like, that's not good.
That's a kidney issue.
But it's the same thing. Like, we went to the vet. They ran the tests. We took it in for the ultrasound. They couldn't find shit wrong with the cat.
It cost like $1,200 later.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah, it was $890 for an ultrasound.
Yeah, every time you pay to have a cat fixed at the vet, you lose part of your soul. The cat steals it. It's not a bad thing to do. The cat just steals part of your soul.
I think they just.
But it's like you guys found nothing, and now the cat's fine.
I mean, peeing blood seems pretty bad.
I know.
Okay, but everything's
they did the tests.
Okay, everything's okay. No one. I don't want the Packers to draft anyone. You hear that, Brad Holmes? Stop stealing all my players. You know what? I want to go get quarterbacks. Just draft all the quarterbacks. Trade up for Cam Ward. That's what I want the Lions to do. That's what I want to do. That's it. Stop stealing my folks. I
think you can take 3 to 4 years, dude. I'll be like, I'm not playing this year because I'm still deciding between the Steelers and Giants.
Fair.
And I'll be live streaming my decision for the next year on YouTube.
All right. Can I ask you a serious question?
No. Yes. Maybe.
Fair. Do you think that this current round of Aaron Rodgers watch is more artificially created by the media than it is Aaron Rodgers this time?
Ooh.
Because the reason I say that is because in the past, it's all Aaron Rodgers, right? It's just like, here's the quote, you can't get in contact with the team, they got to FaceTime you, all this stuff, right? But I feel like Aaron Rodgers himself hasn't really said anything at least to the general public. And the only thing we've seen is him standing on a beach. Now, I'm not saying like, him taking his time is, not a pain in the ass, but it just feels like, I don't know, that this is more of a narrative that I'm seeing artificial because there's just no quotes from him.
I think that's probably pretty fair to Rodgers. I think he's in Australia right now, right? That's where he's at. I think it's more about him deciding if he wants to play another season. Like, you have to decide you want to be there, and then you have to decide which new team you're going to go to. And let's be honest, that's a whole thing. And they're very different situations. The Steelers, the Giants, and maybe the Vikings. Like, if that's Lord Taco, you know how many Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca trips I could buy with that?
I don't know. What's the going rate for ayahuasca? I don't know.
I think it's a lot more. I think it's
I think it's a lot more. And plus, you like go to Peru. It's a whole experience.
Yeah. I think he's in Australia. I think he's actually on like a path to get stung by a box jellyfish, to have one of the most venomous snakes down there bite him, and to have one of the spend the night with a huntsman spider. And once he completes that trifecta of immunization to venom, then he'll be ready to make his NFL decision.
I mean, I'm sorry. If my quarterback was immune to venom,
that's pretty sick.
You never know, right? Like if you're out in Arizona, you don't know, maybe like a rattlesnake, sneaks in there and, and bites it, you're going to be fine. So
hell yeah. I respect
an advantage. I'm just saying.
Lord Taco, God bless you.
Johnny John John!
But because I gotta be honest, like it's exactly what you said. Unless he goes to the Vikings, which I think just makes that would be the most, this is gonna be a really interesting year, like for football, right? Like within the NFC North.
Yeah.
He goes to the Giants. I don't want to say I don't care, but I kind of don't care because I don't think that that's going to move the needle. The Steelers, I think that they're potentially a playoff team, potentially.
Well,
but I don't think
they're perennially who they are, right?
Exactly. So, like, I don't think they're going to the Super. Like, the team that I was like, okay, maybe they could take the next step would be the Minnesota Vikings. So, I'm not even that invested in it. But the one I'm invested in more is just the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like that's the story for me that I'm the most intrigued with because they got 3 guys that they just got to figure out what the hell they're doing with. So that is like what those contracts are going to look like. Hendrickson is going to get moved. Jair Alexander for me is out there too of just like, okay, like what's that trade comp going to look like if they wind up trading him, what it looks like. So this one was the most interesting, I would say, story that we've gotten the past couple of days. Yeah, Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. Holy crap, man. Just, do you have that pulled up?
Yeah, let me get it.
That was fantastic. That was pretty damn fantastic. In case you don't know, so last night a video came out in which it was an interview with Lawrence, and he starts out very complimentary of Dallas, right? Talks about Dallas, about how it's his home, and he loves it there 1,000,000%. He just goes, I know for sure I wasn't going to win a Super Bowl there. Yeah. And that started, first of all, that's just funny. And then second, that kind of starts making its waves to where Micah Parsons winds up responding to it. And then DeMarcus Lawrence winds up responding to that as well. I did a whole bunch of lead up. I thought you'd have it up by now, but now we're not there. And now I'm
here. I wanted to find the actual video. I had the tweet saved, but I wanted to play the video first.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, here we go, baby. Oh, I got the wrong screen shared.
It's okay. We're trying.
Here, let's see if I can just pop this over here.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out, I guess. I think that's the next step. So, all right, here we go. Yeah, it can't be taken out of context.
I can say it looks like this is being broadcast from StreamYard based on the little lower third there, Tom.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
There, I'm forever going to be there, but, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
We're here.
Ooh.
DeMarcus.
Ooh, love it.
It's so I know for sure we're not going to win. I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there, which for Cowboys fans, they're like, you didn't have to say it out loud, right? You know, like you just kept that internally. But oof. And then Micah Parsons finds it because that started going viral pretty quickly, you know, because it's someone pooping on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You said you had it saved. What? Wait, whoa. Why am I at the very top? Why?
Because I was talking about I made just a really dumb joke. Where is it? I was like, Sam Darnold showed up to Seattle just in dad plaid. I was like, man, that Kirk Cousins slot in Minnesota. I think we gave Cousins too much credit for it, Tom. I think Minnesota turns you into dad plaid.
Might. And then there's me.
Somebody just dropped you in Minnesota like this.
Yep. It's a great jersey. It was a great time.
Where am I at? Where's my posts? I got this DeMarcus Lawrence shit in here somewhere. I love Devontae.
Very
Where
cute.
are you at? There it is.
Okay.
Here it is.
There you go. Okay, right. There you go. All right.
So Micah says this what rejection and envy look like. You forgot the word is, Micah. This is what rejection and envy looks. Forgot the S, like.
He's just trying to be efficient.
This some clown shit. No grammatical correction there. This clown shit.
So the response from DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah. Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. What's great about that, Tom, is that's the shit the media says, right? Like, that's what the media does to criticize players. But when it comes from another player, now we got some drama. And yes, this is the most exciting thing that's happened in the NFL in the last 24 hours. I'm sorry, but that's all we got for you.
Yeah. It's kind of fantastic, but you bring up that's what the media does, right?
Yeah, they're like, get off the podcast and study some film. When that used to be that's what's going to replace like it's like if you saw a photo of like a player like out at a bar or something, like stay away from the bars and study more film. Now it's just like get off your own podcast.
The Cowboys don't play. Do they? Do they? Hold on. Let's say. Yeah, no, honestly, like this is just funny at this point.
Yeah.
The Seahawks don't play the Cowboys this year.
No.
Damn.
That was my question too, Tom.
Damn. That was my first question.
Look, do the Seahawks play the Cowboys?
Perfect.
Nope. Mind meld, baby.
Rodgers to the Colts. Well, they just paid Danny Dimes. They just paid good old Danny Dimes there. So.
Okay, this isn't quite on par, but I saw it right after, Tom. And everybody's been asking for some UFL coverage. Did you see this?
No, I just saw Jay Sternberger responding to something which was, I love Jay Sternberger forever. Did you see about the Josh Myers thing?
Oh,
Okay, real quick. So Jay Sternberger, who's also a friend of the show, he's been on multiple times, former pick for the Green Bay Packers, 3rd round pick as a tight end. And someone said that Josh Myers was like arguably like Goody's worst draft pick. And like Jace responded, it was like, my time to shine. Like it was.
Hell yeah, Jace.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
So
sorry, continue.
This is they had this quote, which was Jay Sternberger about Marquette King's music. The practice was great and all, except they kept playing Marquette King's music on repeat, and it's just not that good. Honestly, I would rather be on an elevator with Ray Rice.
Jay Sternberger is like
dude. Can we sign Jay Sternberger to be part of GPS? Like
just GPS. He'll be the S in GPS. It'll be Grossi Perna Sternberger.
We'll GPSS. Dude, I thought he was gonna say I'd rather be listening to elevator music. Like I thought that was gonna be the burn, and I was like, oh yeah, even better, Jace.
Yep.
Even better.
Thoughts on the Raiders? I mean, I think they get better with Geno Smith. You got Crosby now, who you needed to lock up, and you did. So I think they're going to be better. what their record was last year, but I'm curious what they're going to do in the draft. So I think they're taking the pieces to be more competitive this year, though.
Yeah.
They got back Timmy P. I missed that.
Oh, nice. Good job, Detroit.
Timmy P.
Dude, it sucked. I was watching for one of the Broncos episodes,
like 15 minutes.
There's some preseason clips from last year, and I saw Tim Patrick catching a touchdown pass in preseason, and the crowd being excited, and he was excited. I was like, damn, we didn't get to bring him back, but we'll always root for you, Tim Patrick.
I mean, I'm not gonna root for Tim Patrick just because he's on the Detroit Lions now, and he scores some touchdowns. But I always like Timmy P. So that's it. Whoa. Oh, Josh, that's horrible. Freaking 30?
30?
Yeah, that's
damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Be well. I hope all gets well, and just take care of yourself, my friend. That's all we can do. Jordan Love could use a nice veteran presence. Get the hell out of here, Snick. Get out. Just leave right now. It's the end of you and me. Get out. Get out. He'll sign that 1-day contract. That's it. No, Ethan. No. Talking about Cooper Kupp.
I think it would help. They could use Cooper Kupp. They lost DK and Tyler Lockett. Like, adding Cooper Kupp, I think, would be solid for Seattle. I don't think it's going to save them, but I think it would help.
Yeah, offensive linemen should be the goal. Bringing in offensive linemen, making that O-line better. Whoever gets Ethan. Cooper Kupp, because apparently there are multiple suitors, I don't think is saving any wide receiver room. You're bringing a veteran presence, which I think could be nice for a young wide receiver room. That's where I really see that value. But that contract has to be low.
And that's what's holding it up. Like, we got lied to again. They're like, oh, a Cooper Kupp signing is going to happen sooner rather than later. We actually expect something to be done tonight. That was yesterday. Shit didn't happen. What comes out this morning? Teams are willing to offer 13 to 14 million per year to Cooper Kupp. Some are, but that's not what he wants, because he was going to make 20 million over the next 20 million a year for the next 2 years, roughly, right? That's why the Rams I don't think you're worth that for us right now.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get his expectations managed. Teams are trying to not overpay for him, and we don't really know what that number is. And a lot of teams that were allegedly interested in him, one being the Broncos, they're not going to pay 13, 14 million a year for Cooper Kupp, maybe 11 or 12 max right now. So you're looking for a team that's going to overspend a little bit. Maybe that's the Cowboys. Maybe, I don't know. That was the latest. Like, Cowboys were interested, but I don't know if they're willing to even go that high. They're not. They're cheap right now, and they have been since Greg Hardy. Anyway.
My draft prep really is going to start kind of next week, because I wanted to let free agency go, because then to see where the Packers still have holes. But the Lions should go get Cam Ward and trade up all of their draft picks to go get him. You hear that, Brad? That's my draft advice to you this year. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go through these grades.
Let's do it.
Real quick. I just wanted to touch on how dead free agency is right now. Waiting on Rodgers, waiting on Cooper Kupp. Well, I had Good Morning Football on this morning. I don't know why, but I know me, grammar police. King illiterate is the grammar police.
Fixing your
Russell Wilson's the other piece here. We're waiting for Russ.
Champion?
And Good Morning Football played a Russell Wilson highlight reel this morning. They're like, Russell's out there. We put together our top 10 favorite Russell Wilson plays. And they're, the ridiculous Russell Wilson highlights that made us all go damn, Russell Wilson's an insane talent. And then at the end of the segment, Peter Schrager said something to the effect of,
I would love that.
We wish Russ well. Hope he finds that next spot. We've always had a ton of respect for Russell Wilson. As he's sitting across from Kyle Brandt.
Yep, poser.
Called Russell Wilson a poser who shit on him in the hardest way you can on network television. And I was like, oh man, that's funny. They're really trying to backtrack those comments about Russ. And critiquing Russ's play has always been fair.
That's fair game for every player.
He's declining. And I think we're watching Russ try and come to terms with the fact that his career as a starting quarterback in the NFL's is over, and it's how long is he going to want to play and accept that the teams that are going to take chances on him are going to look at him as a bridge / backup type quarterback.
Austria.
And it happens. It's not fun. And obviously, like, that's kind of where Rodgers is at too. And that's why, like, this wait for these quarterbacks is just so unintriguing. But watching the Russ plays, you're like, fuck, dude he made some insane plays.
Yeah.
But and here I say, like,
that'd be cheap.
We can criticize Russ's play.
Sure.
Let's try to not just dump on him for no reason. But there was a play he made, and he like jumped up looking like for somebody to one of his teammates to hype him up. There was like nobody there to do it. I was like, oh man.
I mean,
nobody
dude, like,
cared.
even
Even
when he was
making some great plays.
When he was in Denver, right? Like I mean, how long did it take for teammates to come out and like defend him?
A year.
And yeah,
literally a full season.
And then there was like you had in Seattle, like, because was it Marshawn Lynch who said like he never got his number? Like there was all this, and it was exacerbated because the on the field play wasn't great. So not ideal. Yeah, and Penei Sewell, please, also Lions.
Wow, give them everything.
Yeah, just everything.
Give them everything, baby.
All right, let's see what these these free agent grades look like.
Now, even this list is still missing some pieces, but I was trying to find like the best one. Pro Football Focus had the most complete one. So that's why we're going to go with this. And we'll just go down alphabetically. They're starting with the Cardinals. Pro Football Focus gives Arizona a grade of a B. And so who did Arizona bring in? Dalvin Tomlinson,
Josh Sweat,
Collier, Zay Jones, Jacoby Brissett. Josh Sweat was the big one.
Yeah.
They extended Baron Browning or gave him another year deal, which I don't mind, rooting for Browning after he left Denver. B feels very accurate for the Cardinals. I like the Josh Sweat edition because they really need pass rush help. And even Dalvin Tomlinson's not like terrible. It's not like a game-changing sort of signing, but their defensive line needs to be more impactful for Arizona.
Mm-hmm. I feel, well, I mean, they've needed pass rusher for a while. And I think going to get Josh Sweat and paying for Josh Sweat is like, it's a good move. But the Cardinals are in this, they need to figure out what their team's going to look like, right? Like Kyler Murray, I see you peeking over there. Kyler Murray, like, there's the two camps, right? Where Kyler's our guy. And then there's there's some hesitation about Kyle. Like, I think that we just need to see what this team looks like because they're on that, hey, can they take that next step? And making that defense better is great. They go and get Marvin Harrison Jr., which he needs to step up this year and have a really big sophomore season. So I think we're just kind of waiting and seeing what they look like, but there's no problem making the defense better while we wait.
Yeah, you can call it a B, I think, for the Cardinals because it's not like they went crazy. Their big spin's Josh Sweat, and he could be an impact player for them on the edge.
Yes, I think you're
crazy. And you got to give teams credit for not like overspending. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it feels like the Cardinals did. Falcons, a C. They got Leonard Floyd added. I kind of like that pickup for Atlanta. Mike Hughes, okay. Divine Diablo, we love the name.
Yes, always.
And that's all they have in here for Atlanta. They got to pay Kirk Cousins. They lost their center, which does not help Michael Penix.
For Mike Hughes, I think that's solid. Because they built up a pretty good secondary. But I think ultimately for the Falcons, they're just in a really rough spot, right? You're paying a ton of money to Kirk Cousins. You have a rookie quarterback, but you're not really able to take advantage of that situation because you have Kirk Cousins cap hit, right? So I think it's There, another one, find out if Penix is the guy. If Penix is the guy, it makes this a lot easier. It's going to suck this year, but, then no more guaranteed money for Kirk Cousins unless you're able to move on from him. So the Falcons are just in this weird spot where they could have won the division last season, but then they blew it. So I think heading into this year, they'll be contending, but it's all going to be depending on how Penix is going to be.
Yeah.
And yes, Easy, I think that is crazy because you're going to have to pay him a ton of money, and I don't think they're going to trade away that kind of draft value for Brock Purdy. I don't think so. Personally,
No, they got to just pay they got to pay Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
3.1.
We'll see what the Falcons do in the draft. But like the Bears' big win was signing the Falcons center, right? Like that's part of their rebuild. So
building that
the
line,
Falcons with a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback, like that's kind of tough. But
see, look at that, Perna. You embrace some anime, and look what happens. Look what happens. The internet's been raving about it. They're like, that Brandon Perna.
That's different. That's not Pokemon.
But you have said anime. When you had to go to an anime convention, there was kicking and screaming and tantrums. But now you whip out a Howl's Balding Castle.
We're a Totoro
reference.
house, okay? We're a Totoro house.
That's
Carmi's
right.
watched it a bunch of times. We got a Totoro stuffy.
You know what? You deserve to be
I like
on.
good animation and good storytelling. Oh, that's better.
Oh, wow. Good. I mean, that sounds like, I don't know.
That's Pokemon. Do not
A ton of
fucking tell
anime.
me that's Pokemon
But there's a
or Dragon
difference
Ball
between
Z.
just Pokemon. There's a whole new world. But you know this.
Yeah.
You know.
Again, as a 40-year-old man, I'm not going to just get into Pokemon. That would be weird. That would be alarming. Ravens, B-. Hopkins, Stanley. That's all they did. They re-signed the best tackle who would have hit free agency.
Yep.
Brought in D-Hop. My award to them was like the best minimal effort went to the Ravens. Getting Stanley back, I think, is huge. Yeah, our future is bright. You are right. You are right.
Favorite music?
Rock and roll, baby.
Genre? Yeah, it's going to be like rock or punk, maybe metal. But yeah, big alternative guy. Big alternative guy.
I don't know if I agree with this. A- for the Bills? Wow.
Such a weeb.
What's a weeb? What the
Such a
fuck's a weeb? I don't find that offensive all. I don't find that offensive at all. Looking at your avatar. What is that? Who's that guy?
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I love you, Perna.
Is that Yu-Gi-Oh? Who the fuck is that?
Yep, we're going to send you to the Shadow Realm. Continue. You don't agree with the Bills?
No. I like their own players that they're bringing back. I don't know. They Larry O and Joey Bosa.
Are you just really down on the Joey Bosa
Dude, I am.
acquisition?
Like, I think there's like when you're talking about players with injury concerns, okay? There's two ways of looking at that. Is it a guy who just had an injury where he missed a season?
It's fair.
Or is this somebody who's hurt every year? And Joey Bosa is a player who is hurt every year, and it's always a different injury, okay? I want the guy that the Bills bring in to help their pass rush, which is a need, to be on the field for them, to contribute to them. And I hope Joey Bosa stays healthy for the Bills. I hope I have to eat my words by the end of next season. I hope I have to say, that was a great pickup. Joey Bosa had a career year. But I don't think that's going to happen. And it's not like he's going to a place where the team is known for keeping their players very healthy. You know what I mean? The Bills were as healthy as they've been last season, but over the last few years, like, damn, they suffered some bad injuries that kind of cost them their chance to make a run in the playoffs. So I don't know. Now, all of this can change with a good draft for any team we're talking about today. And there's defensive linemen in this draft that the Bills can get. There's edge rushers. All of that's fine. I hope it works out. I do like Josh Palmer. I like the Josh Palmer pickup for Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I thought he was a little underrated with the Chargers, underutilized, but you know.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this because yes, I did see this and it is funny. So hold on. This was okay.
What?
So this is. Did you see this, Perna?
No.
What's making waves on the internet? So
I
Ben
can't see
Johnson. Hold on. So folks have been pulling up the before and after picture of Ben Johnson, like when he first signed with the Bears, and
yeah.
and 50 days in. So hold on. This was worth showing.
Yeah, I said being a Bears head coach ages you like a politician.
Yeah, so this is day one, Ben Johnson. You know, there's optimism, there's light in his eyes.
Yeah.
And this is Ben Johnson now.
Why does he look like he got a jaw implant? Like his jaw looks chiseled. He looks like he's been in the weight room bulking up. Like that's like nerd, jacked, chiseled. Dude, he looks like he fucking swings an axe for a living. Crunch his number, swings an axe.
It's kind of great.
Crunch his numbers, swings an axe.
Yeah. Sorry, that was very much worth it.
We'll see what happens with Buffalo.
So Buffalo, yeah, I think that I agree with you in the pass rusher because like that's just a position that they are going to have to address because they need to get younger there, but they need playmakers like right now, right?
Yeah.
And to get rid of Von Miller and bring in Joey Bosa, I think at best is a lateral
even trade.
move.
They performed almost identically.
Yeah, it's a lateral move at best, you know, because again, it's with Joey. There's potential, but it's just the injuries. It just keep on popping up. So I agree with you. I like the Palmer signing. I think that's good. They lost Hollins, but that kind of sucks. But ultimately, they're gonna have to, like you say, address it in the draft. So it's not the worst thing. But I just don't put a ton of stock in the Bosa signing. That's where I'm at right this second.
Yeah. Panthers, they gave a B.
Panthers, I like what they're doing, though. Like, they shored up their secondary, right? They're putting a lot of money into their secondary. And this could wind up backfiring if guys are injured, but you could say that about literally anybody. But the Panthers, it's like kind of what I just said about the Cardinals. Bryce Young, there's actual optimism for Carolina this offseason, right? Heading into this year, it's like, oh, look, we don't have to tear it all down. And so if they're able to build it back up, like I like the Rico Dowdle, it's a low risk signing, and I think you're getting a pretty good player as well. And if Bryce Young is able to take some steps, I know Adam Thielen is coming back too, which is not moving the needle, but he knows the scheme and, you know, he can catch the ball. So I think the Panthers are just in this process of rebuilding and saying, all right, we're locking down our secondary. We're trying to make our team a little bit better. Even on offensive line as well. I don't mind them taking these swings. So
yeah, I think Morig's a good addition to their secondary.
Yeah.
And then Dowdle is a nice add, you know, with Chuba Hubbard, because who's the running back they signed and got injured again? Is it Jonathan?
Oh, Brooks,
yeah. So he's probably not going to play at all next year. So, you know, getting a guy like Rico to come in and fill that until hopefully Brooks is going to be ready to go in 2026, it's not a bad move. And the Carolina Panthers, like their defense just needs to be better. So they're adding solid pieces. And, you know, they paid a good amount for Wharton, but I think that's one of those under the radar type signings. I thought he was pretty good in Kansas City.
I was just talking about the new Pokemon Legends ZA game. He was pretty excited about the trailer.
Get out of here, funny vids 355.
He was just talking about it. I think he
it's
pre-ordered
not a funny vid. It's any Pokemon vid.
Mm-hmm.
A- for the Bears. I would actually give them an A+.
Kyle, I think it's just because you worry about some of your high draft picks and go, okay, are they going to be able to live up to that hype on that offensive line? So I think getting some depth there would not be the worst thing as a just in case.
And it's more like the Panthers last free agency, they spent big on the interior of their offensive line. It's probably you're probably just talking about tackle, right? Was it Icky? They signed Icky?
Yeah, it's like you got to hope that things just live up to potential. That's what you hope. That's what you hope. The
And if
Bears
Bryce Young got better, I think, that makes the line look better. And they ran the ball, and they're going to continue to run the ball, and that's why you invest in guards and interior linemen. So I think the Panthers will be a little bit better.
Who's your favorite starter Pokemon, Brandon?
I'm just ignoring this shit. Bears A-. Grady Jarrett, nice.
Dale, I'm so the Packers were potentially, I don't want to say linked, because a lot of Packers fans really wanted to get Deo. I think he's what, 25?
Yeah.
Right. I think like this is a good signing of like, hey, it's an ascending player. We're going to grab him off of potential. They're building in both of the trenches. I talked about this a gajillion times now with the Chicago Bears. This is no surprise, right? Ben Johnson going over from the Lions to Chicago, coming from a dominant line, wants to recreate that there. It's one of their biggest positions of need. So I think the Bears are taking some, big swings to try and make life a lot easier for Caleb Williams. And if they're able to go and like get a top like running back or something in the draft, we'll see. We'll see. And again, I know it's the old joke of that they're off-season champs, but I have to say, I think that these are smart moves that the Bears are making.
Yeah. And this doesn't include the two trades, which, Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson. So if that line is as improved as it should be, it is going to help Caleb Williams immensely. And just running the football more consistently and effectively will help him.
Yeah.
Bengals, C+.
Matthews should get Trey Lance.
All right. So this doesn't even have the Oren Burks signing for the Bengals. Yeah. And I was looking through this. I was like, fuck, did I say Oren Burks went to the Bengals and he didn't?
Mm-hmm.
He did. It's just not updated. They haven't lost T. Higgins or Trey Hendrickson yet. So I will give them. God, I can't talk.
You're good. You're okay.
My brain.
I believe in you.
Since T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson are still Bengals, technically C+, okay. Do you think it's better if they keep Trey Hendrickson? That's the question. And I'm not saying that is like Trey Hendrickson is not a great edge rusher, but how much would you be able to help your defense through the draft by trading him, giving you the money to pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? Because
that's what I think is also the problem too that they're running into, right? Because everything that I've heard about the Cincinnati Bengals right now is that not only is it the contract, but teams are willing to pay the contract to Trey Hendrickson and give him an extension. It's the Bengals asking price. And from a Cincinnati Bengals perspective, I understand why you're asking for a lot, right? Because your defense is not going to get better when you lose Trey Hendrickson. I think the problem is now they have cornered themselves in which they need to extend 3 players at the same time who are going to make good money, including Jamar Chase, who is going to make an insane amount of money. And now, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I re-sign Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, and I trade T. Higgins. That's me. But I think ultimately, the Bengals, it's tough to grade them right now because if they lose Trey Hendrickson, that defense is not going to get better. Because I don't think they're going to be able to replicate his production in a season. Now, long term, maybe it works out, right? Because he is an aging player. It's a lot of money. But at the same time, can the draft capital that you're going to get from that trade make an immediate impact? It's going to be tough. You're going to have to hit a home run in the draft.
Yeah, and I think okay, so let's say too that the reports are true that Trey would like to stay in Cincinnati.
Sure.
I think that speaks very highly of Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor. Other than that, there's not a ton of reason to want to be in Cincinnati as a player, historically speaking, on how they have handled player contracts and player situations. I think guys want to be on the same team as Joe Burrow. I think
sure.
if Trey stays there and they figure out a way to, make it work with T, and I know T's not happy about his contract situation, but it feels like in terms of the team and the players, like they like that. And I think if you have that, it always gives you a chance. They're not a destination because they don't go out and spend a ton of money on free agents.
Mm-hmm.
But Gesicki went back there, and I'm sure he could have had some options somewhere, but we'll see what happens. As long as they hold on to Joe Burrow, I think they can make a lot work. But
buddy, I think there's a couple of ways that the Raiders can go at 6. I think a lot of folks have mocked Genty to the Raiders, which I think adds a huge boost in your run game because it was non-existent. I think that or O-line. That O-line, you could go get another receiver. I don't know if you're going at 6, though, but I think O-line. The only other thing is maybe D-line.
Yeah.
That's where I'm aiming.
Brown
asking you when you're going to get the auto chess stream going for Pokemon.
No. You're dead to me, Jory.
I think the Browns get an A+.
A+ for the Browns?
A+ for the Browns.
Wow.
Yeah.
I give them an F.
Oh.
They are making moves like they're going to compete this year.
That's like the most subtle burn ever.
Yeah.
Just like they're making moves like they're a contender.
Yeah. I feel bad for Browns fans.
I feel like
if they draft a quarterback, then I will give them a respectable offseason. We don't know what they're going to do. If they draft a quarterback, they're giving them a chance. If Kenny Pickett's their starter, good luck. Good luck, Kenny. I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, it's rough for Cleveland because Cleveland. It was going to be rough with whatever they did, unless they traded away even if they traded away Myles Garrett, right? Like that was going to be a huge loss for their defense. But the hope was that they were going to be able to recoup, in draft capital and get, some couple first round picks or something. But the fact that they didn't get that, they spent a ton of money to keep him there is going to make your defense good. Like, you're at least going to have Myles Garrett there. But it just seems like the window for a competitive Super Bowl team has come and gone in Cleveland. Yeah. And I think that unfortunately it's going to take a couple seasons to build it back up. Now, it's like what Perna says, if they nail the draft and they bring in and they got a good quarterback, I think that they're going to be competitive within the next few, but it's not great right now. And Stephon Diggs, that's up to Stephon Diggs if he's going to take a 1-year deal. I would assume so, that's only going to be the market for him. He's coming off a major injury. He's getting a little bit older. I don't think that there's going to be an insane market for Stephon Diggs, but I think
he should have a 1-year deal with the Texans. He should come back to Houston. They got Kirk.
They need him.
I saw people comparing Diggs to Kupp in that Diggs still has a much better grade in terms of his ability to get open. And that might be fair pre-injury. But again, what's a knee injury going to do to his performance on the field? You don't know yet. Cowboys C-. I think that's very generous of the Cowboys in free agency. They signed a linebacker who has not played well. They signed a corner who has not played well. Hell yeah, Kevontae Turpin. Love that he got paid. They signed another third overall pick by the 49ers and Solomon Thomas, who is average. Robert Jones, don't even know. And my man, Javonte, who, again, average running back right now.
I think Odigizua was a good re-signing.
Yeah, they paid their guy. That's good. I'm going to give them a D+ because I don't think they've gotten better.
But the Cowboy, the big thing is are they going to be able to extend Parsons? Which with the restructuring of Dak and CeeDee Lamb, you're assuming that is going to be their next big move. But again, they have all their money wrapped up in 3 guys. And how is the team getting significantly better? They lost Rico Dowdle. So unless they're going to take a big swing and try and go get a major running back, which this is the draft to go get a running back, right? There's a lot of, and they can address their defensive line and help stop the run. They're going to need to do that too.
Let's put it this way. Are the Cowboys the Bengals of Texas, or are the Bengals the Cowboys of Ohio?
I feel like that's just so brutally offensive to the Cincinnati Bengals. I like Joe Burrow too much.
I like Dak.
Yeah, I like Dak.
I got no beef with Dak.
Yeah.
Burrow's
Cordell,
just better.
Panthers. Yeah, we just talked about the Panthers. I think, if Bryce Young is able to continue that upward trajectory, then I think they could be competing for the division. I think
Carolina could be quietly building the right way.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's good. The Buccaneers, I think, are still going to be favored to probably win that division. But yeah.
If Bryce Young takes another step forward this year, Carolina's going to look very smart.
On Cordell, I got you.
Hey, I had to test it. Get out of here.
Dude, the bidet, you can get them with warm water, and I get why people would want that because the cold water can be jarring, but I liken it to smelling salts. Right before GPS,
you couldn't do like a cold bath, like an ice bath.
Stream of water shooting right into your rectal region, Tom. That'll wake you up. That's how I get ready for this show. Ice cold water shooting directly into my asshole.
You know what? It's like the games at the carnival, right? Like we have the water gun and it's like the little clown mouth or whatever. It's basically that.
I do it until my clown head reaches the top of the thing.
The balloon pops.
Yeah. Does Stephen A. Smith get ready for first take by talking about water shooting into his asshole? I don't think so. Does Nick Wright talk about water shooting directly into his rectum before he goes on to Fox Sports? No. We're the best. Get on my level, other sports talkers, you cowardly fucks. Get the water in your buttholes. Then you can talk ball.
I really need to find that one clip there.
It's like, like buttholes, everybody has one.
That was awesome.
I'm just here to support you, Brandon. That's all. That's it.
Sadly, they didn't come back,
Yeah, no. I'm glad that you are getting some good practical use out of that.
Yeah.
It's waking you
up. I was
up.
thinking of it this morning, actually. I was like,
my buddy has a warm water one, and he's
I get why people want that. Maybe I like to live.
So my question is your current cold one in your main bathroom, like the one next to your bedroom?
It's in our bedroom bathroom.
Okay, it's in your bedroom bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was saying maybe in that case you can get a warm water one for a different bathroom, but I was like, it would make sense to be in that one.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Broncos, A, correct. Look at that.
No. Listen, I love what the Broncos have done because I think at the bare minimum, these guys show up and they're even above average. You're going to nail this, right? Because we've talked about this even yesterday, talked about it this entire week, that just because you sign guys doesn't mean you're going to be successful. A bunch of these free agents are not going to work out. They're going to be waste of money. But Evan Engram, right, who the Jaguars released, you've talked about this ad nauseum. The tight end room for the Denver Broncos, I mean, Evan Engram can drop 60% of his passes, but as long as he's still going to have, like 500 yards, it's going to be an improvement. Hufanga, as long as he's healthy, that secondary is already really damn good. The one I like the most is Greenlaw. I really like. I love that signing. I think that's a really good. Sorry, 49ers fans, but yeah, Greenlaw I think is the potential to make the biggest splash.
Greenlaw could be huge for us.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I think Dre Greenlaw, in terms of praise from fans, from respect from the organization, it's like one of the most positive signings I've ever seen for the Broncos, like where everybody's like, that guy is good. You're going to love him. And Engram was just a nice ad. I thought the Broncos might be done at that point, but it is an upgrade. It's a fit with Sean Payton, who talked about the Joker role on Kay Adams' show like a month ago. So we have been talking about nothing but who's the Joker? Who's going to be the Joker? Evan Engram, after signing with the Broncos, posted a video of the fucking Joker. He has embraced the role, and he is going to he'll have like 500 yards at least.
There we go.
Upside, 800 yards. right.
By the way, Tevin Jenkins is visiting the Seattle Seahawks, a former Bears lineman, and also the Vikings have signed former Packer linebacker Eric Wilson.
Where did Tevin Jenkins sign?
He didn't sign anywhere, but he is meeting with the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh,
God,
that might
Tevin
be
Jenkins
all right.
coming
If
out
they
of
keep him in the
college.
guard spot.
Oh man,
Lions B. That feels right.
we'll see what Perna says. I trust Perna's judgment on Pokemon and how he feels about these new Mega Evolutions. So, yeah. Well,
I might have to stream a playthrough if I can't attend that conference. I'm planning on it, but you never know.
I don't know about that. I don't know if they're going mild say like if that means that they're done signing running backs. I don't know if that is
They
true.
might be ready to draft one. I think
Yeah,
they'll
I think they're
draft
going
a
to
running
draft
back.
a guy. Like they're going to go after. I mean, again, there's a good amount of depth and good
Yeah.
running backs in this class. So super important. Showed you an email. I don't know what email you're talking about, buddy. Not me. But yeah, I think for Sanders and Williams are not moving the needle at all for Dallas. You go and draft a running back, and then I think you'll be all right. Yeah, the stupid freaking Lions, man. DJ Reed, I say, is an upgrade, I think, over Carlton Davis. Bless you, especially what Davis was paid. So 3 years, $48 million, which is less than what Carlton Davis got. So there you go. PFF agrees that they upgraded. So
also, I think the Derek Barnes contract is a steal too. 3 year, $24 million. He was one of the lowest paid linebackers in this round. So, and I expect the Lions to, have a good draft. We're really just going to see how the Lions are at replacing their coordinators.
that's going to be the ultimate question. Yeah, exactly. Packers getting a good old C-. Yeah, I mean, because they didn't do any like big splashy things, right?
Yeah.
So Aaron Banks was their big signing to go get some O-line depth. And on top of that, we're going to be taking a look at what the hell this offensive line is going to look like. We let go of Josh Myers, who signed with the Jets for like $2 million. So that's just how high the Packers and the NFL were on Josh Myers. So I imagine Jenkins going to go to center. We'll see where Morgan's going to slip in. And then Hobbs is a low-risk signing.
I bet on him being good.
Yeah, they need the depth. I told you the Raiders we swapped. They got Eric Stokes. We got Nate Hobbs. Hope that both guys stay healthy. But yeah, we'll kind of see what it's going to be about the draft. That's where they're going to build. They need to go get pass rusher. When they trade away Jair, which I'm assuming they're going to do, they're still going to go need to get a corner. And then they need another wide receiver. But I don't think that there's anybody left because I don't think they're going to do Trey Hendrickson. Personally, I don't think so.
Texans,
I got nothing, bud.
you made your offensive line worse. Nice move.
Texans. So here's the thing. Kenyon Green, the Eagles are just grabbing him off of potential. And I think when you go and get CJ Gardner-Johnson, it's making that secondary even better. So I think you're going to see that immediate. But you said this on Wednesday, that if the Eagles are able to rehabilitate Kenyon Green, then this is going to look like a really good trade for the Eagles. Laramie Tunsil, you're not gonna miss some stuff, with the penalties and everything, but you are gonna miss how well he can block. And while I think that the Texans can address some of these issues in the draft, they are going to need to make sure that their offensive line is a lot better than what it was this past season, because otherwise it's going to be problematic. And they need to go get another wide receiver too.
So, and it's fine. Like, I'm assuming, right? Like you're saying draft, they might add some better line help in the draft, the Texans.
They're going to have to, yeah.
And I think their secondary is going to be very good. Replacing Tunsil, that'll be tricky. And then they signed guards who are almost as bad as Kenyon Green in Ed Engram and Laken Tomlinson. Tomlinson might be a little bit better, but it's not like they got a lot better there. And I think we're going to find out. We're giving CJ Stroud a lot of leeway for the pass protection, the sacks he took in his second year, being all on the offensive line. I don't know if that's 100% true. Now, they did fire their offensive line coach. They elevated Popovich. I remember that just because his last name's Popovich. And that might help as well. Like maybe a new offensive line coach. They're going to have a new offensive coordinator.
Yes,
maybe all of that helps. And even with like minimal kind of changes here, their line looks better. But their depth pieces, like who's going to be their starting guards and who's going to be their starting tackle, we'll see.
Yeah, I want to judge the Texans after the draft because I
want to judge them now.
That's fair. Colts, they lost some pass rushers. They lost some offensive linemen. They revamped that secondary though. After firing their DC, which they very, 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 very much needed to do.
Yeah.
Getting Bynum and Ward, I like these selections of like, hey, let's go and just try and make this secondary a more formidable unit. Yeah. But in terms of the Colts, man, like they just, what are they doing at quarterback, right? Like this is another scenario where it's like, all right, trying to make the team better overall, right? So they're going to be even more competitive. But you got to figure out if Anthony Richardson's the guy. Like that's ultimately what it's going to be. And that can't happen until the season starts. You bring in Daniel Jones, who's going to compete. But if Richardson's not the guy, then it's just going to be around and around and around the carousel once again, which Colts fans have just been going through for how many years now?
I think their secondary got better. I think Ward will play better there. He had a couple nice seasons with the 49ers. But yeah, we got to see. We got to see what they're going to do. They just feel like they've stayed about the same.
Yeah.
It was Napa Valley.
Nope, close.
Am I going wine tasting? I'm ready. Jaguars. I'm just going to stop when I see something that excites me for the Jags.
Jaguar. I like De'Ami Brown.
I like De'Ami Brown.
They let go of Kirk, let go of Engram.
They took the one good Cowboy. Good job.
I like Jordan Lewis. Their defense was horrendous last year. So that needs to get significantly better. Now that you have Duval in Jacksonville, we'll see what that team is going to look like. Trevor Lawrence, there's question marks. You just gave him $55 million deals, but there's at least questions, and I want Trevor Lawrence to succeed so badly. I feel like this is just let's figure out what the hell kind of team we are this year.
Yeah.
And that's a very valid question.
Yeah.
So
if Brown plays like he did in the playoffs, that's a really nice pickup. A really good number 2 receiver next to Brian Thomas. Chiefs, B-.
Lost Justin Reed to the Saints.
Yeah.
Nick Bolton is a great re-signing.
These two are key re-signings.
Yep. Trey Smith,
they needed to do that after losing Joe Thuney. Bring in more from San Francisco probably is going to look good for the Chiefs. I don't know if Christian Fulton really makes their secondary much better.
He was good last year.
But let's talk. And I want to talk about Xavier Worthy really quick because it looked like initially he was going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was like a fabricated story, a situation he got put in. This is what it looks like now, that he's accused of domestic violence.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was a lie. And he was put in a terrible situation. And the initial thought was like, oh, look at the Chiefs. They got another receiver getting in trouble this offseason. Sure. And that's probably the story everybody remembers. But he came on very strong. And you obviously don't want those stories to ever be true because it means somebody was physically harmed.
Absolutely.
And then when it comes out and it looks like it was a lie, that sucks for him. And I say that as a Chiefs hater who always roots against them as a team. But, I feel bad for the dude. And it looks like outside of Rashee Rice, who's coming back from injury, he could be suspended next year.
Yes.
I say all that to say, like, bringing Hollywood Brown back for another year, I think that's a solid move for Kansas City because I think Brown will be good in that offense. He also was just hurt last year.
I think they do need to go probably get another receiver in the draft. I think just because like you said, who knows what's going on with Rice and what that is going to look like. But ultimately, I think the Chiefs, I don't think got necessarily better in free agency.
It's like they stayed on par. Feels like they just stayed on par.
Going to be really good.
Yeah.
They
didn't make a move that makes you go, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I like
losing
that.
Justin Reed sucks. Kind of anticipate a little bit, but it sucks.
Oh, wait, they did make that move. It was called signing Gardner Minshew.
That's right.
Those
That's right.
bastards.
No, Cup has not been signed yet. So, hey, got the Eagles.
boy, oh boy.
Ravens are your early favorite. I said this about the Baltimore Ravens before. Just you show it to me in the playoffs. Everything else, I can't believe in you anymore. It's just show it to me in the playoffs. I know we're rocking.
I like this one. I do like Raheem Mostert going to the Raiders for the Raiders.
They need $2 million.
It's $2 million for a guy who could honestly still be the fastest running back in the NFL. He's going to give him a few big plays. And that's kind of what you're paying for at $2 million. And they might draft a running back. The running back situation was bad. After letting Josh Jacobs go, like they did not replace his production at all. They got Stokes, Landon Roberts, Jeremy Chin. I think Chin's a nice pickup, and Landon Roberts a nice pickup. It felt like their defense was losing more pieces, and then they signed Roberts to replace Spillane and Chin to replace Moreg. So B's, that feels good. B feels good for the Raiders.
And they got Geno, right?
Geno's the big one in here. That's an A+ for the Raiders.
It's going to improve them. Like they are going to get better with Geno, regardless of how long he's going to be there. You know, they get a nice little boost there. Chargers, I know there's a lot of Chargers fans who are freaking out because they were like, why are we not going to get a bunch of these guys? Like when Evan Engram went to the Broncos, bringing back Mike Williams.
I like it.
Very little downside for the Chargers here as long as he stays healthy. But 1 year, $6 million, I think, is more than a fine contract. But we all know that they need to go and get more weapons. They go and bring in Najee Harris, which could work well in a Harbaugh scheme. Again, like I'm just not super high on Najee Harris, but his consistency, like he's going to put up some yards, and especially behind that offensive line, it might look pretty good. So I think the Chargers are doing fine, but they're another team. Like they need to draft some weapons, and then I'll feel a lot better about them.
Yeah, it feels like they should have made one splash signing, and they didn't. They should have been in. They should have got Devontae Adams. They should have been in on the DK Metcalf trade. They just stayed about the same. They should have signed Evan Engram. Offer him a couple million more. It's okay to overpay him a little bit when you have that much cap space. And instead, you let the Broncos get a lot better by signing him. You knew it was between you and Denver. And this is the whole knock on Spanos, right? You didn't spend when you needed to.
Dude,
now,
if I'm the Chargers, I would have taken that Devontae Adams deal all day, every day.
Yeah, I would have given him more. Overpay one of those guys to keep him, or to keep him going from another spot. Now, get Khalil Mack back over Joey Bosa. That. Smart. I think that was a smart move. I think Mack's got more football, more high-level football in him than Joey Bosa. A- for the Rams. People love the Poona Ford.
I love what the Rams did.
Edition. And people love the Poona Ford edition because there's a clip of Jason Kelsey talking about Poona Ford being one of the players that gave him the most trouble that you wouldn't expect. And it was basically Poona's build. He's talking about Poona being short, stout, and having long arms. And that was a nightmare for Jason Kelsey. I found that interesting.
I think for the reason why that's important, right? Because there was also the clip that just went viral about run blocking. And like, while you could address that with a linebacker, now you have Poona Ford in there to actually stop the run, or at least help stop the run. Yeah. So you have that, and you go get Devontae Adams. Like, I understand that this is coming from a former Packers fan. So it's like, oh man, Homer, whatever. Devontae Adams has a lot more left in the tank, at least for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I think just putting him on the Rams, which already had a pretty good, like that's an upgrade from where Cooper Kupp currently is. So yeah. I really like what the Rams are doing in free agency. And again, the biggest winner you could argue in free agency is the Rams, just because of what's happening within the NFC West. 49ers, they sure as hell ain't getting better. The Seahawks, they're reconfiguring life. And then the Cardinals, we're waiting. The Rams went to the divisional round. They put up a good fight against the Philadelphia Eagles. Their pass rush was disgusting last year. You extended Stafford. Like, I think that window is still open for the Rams, especially within their division.
Stafford and Adams could have been the only two things they did,
and I would still liked it.
And it still would have been good. And then I saw Devontae Adams talking about Sean McVay recruiting him. He was like, he was sending me like breakdown of my film. He's like, he was narrating it like John Gruden calling a game.
I love it.
He's like, he sent me a 7-minute video, a 2-minute video. I just knew he was like all in. And the only thing he cared about was football. And so if that's what enticed Devontae to sign with the Rams, you got to love that if you're a Rams fan.
The only thing is that you have to worry about their offensive line. The O-line is where I want to see the Rams get better, and then I'm going to be rocking. Fair. Dolphins, oh, good guy. I know that there's some upset Titans fans that they didn't give Westbrook more money because that's a 2-year, $7 million deal, and they went and get Zach Wilson. They're another team. What the hell are they going to look like?
When we got Zach Wilson in Denver, the Broncos got a lot better. Dolphins felt like they didn't have money. They didn't spend any money. This is a nice signing. I thought Tennessee should have brought back Nick Westbrook-Akine, but
yeah,
Dolphins didn't do much. Sorry, Miami. You're very boring.
Vikings, they're another team. So Harrison Smith coming back for like another. Isn't he like 55 years old? Can you go away, Harrison Smith? I do think that's a good signing for them, though. But I think what the Vikings are doing that's successful, and it's kind of following suit with some of the other teams in the NFC North, is they're building up those lines, right? So bringing in Will Fries, I think that's probably the biggest signing that they had. Jonathan Allen, like, is going to help there. Byron Murphy, of course, is a big re-signing. But they're like building in the trenches is what's going to make them successful. You bring back Aaron Jones, which makes a lot of sense. He was good for them last year. And the way that I put it about the Vikings is you're rocking with JJ McCarthy, most likely, right? Like that's what all indicators are saying. They're going to just rock with JJ. JJ's potential for success is only going to increase the better his offensive line is. And so because of that, I think that they're putting him in the best scenario to succeed with those receivers, with building the O-line and, fixing some of those deficiencies. Yeah, I like what the Vikings are doing. Not from a Packers fan perspective, but I think that they're building their rosters in the right way.
It's hard to argue that the Vikings and Bears didn't have the best offseason of our free agency round.
Sure.
In terms of getting good players to address big needs.
Yep.
And that's what you do in free agency, because you have a much better sample size of who these players are versus a player coming out of the draft. And getting both Hargrave and Jonathan Allen for their defensive line, like, that's nice.
You just hope one of those guys is going to work out.
Yeah.
And
their interior of their offensive line should be better. And when Darisaw comes back, like, their offensive line could be really good. And even Aaron Jones, he had maybe the quietest 1,500 yards last year of any running back. He was a big difference for him.
Didn't score a touchdown against the Packers, though.
I love the shit we track as fans.
Take that bank vault and shove it.
I gotta pee. I can't keep doing this.
I saw you.
I gotta
shaking. Yeah, you just gotta go pee. It's okay. Brandon Perna's got to pee now. But yeah, all right. Purple Incarnation of Satan. I do like what you're doing. Because even if all those guys don't work out, you're taking swings to make that O-line better, especially the interior and the D-line. I think ultimately that's going to be good. So that'll be solid. It's Perna for the D. It is Perna for the D. And we're going through. We don't. That's on clickbait. Hold on. I think I can actually switch this. Hold on. Do I have the power? I think I do. Yeah.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.
Hold on. Let's see. I got a bunch. This is. All right, just don't say anything. This is what we're going to come back to. I found all the buttons. The only thing I don't have power over is this, because that's on Perna's screen, so I can't scroll and cover these things. So unfortunately, can't do that, but it's all right. I can talk about the New England Patriots, though. The Patriots obviously spending a ton of money, which makes all the sense in the world because they had a ton of money to spend. Milton Williams, I think, was the biggest signing that they had, obviously, trying to make that defensive line better. And for the Patriots, I like the Matt Collins signing too, because they needed to go get wide receivers. They just need to go get more weapons, and they need to build on that offensive line. Change Perna's name. So I think ultimately, like with the Patriots, they're doing everything they can to be a more competitive team this year. Obviously, you saw Drake May last year, and there's the potential there. But building up on that O-line, getting more receivers in the draft, and they have options to do so. I think you're rocking. I think you're in a good spot. The New England Patriots to try and be competitive within that division, because as we just talked about the Dolphins, who the hell knows what the Dolphins are going to look like this year? I still think they're going to be a competitive football team. They don't scream Super Bowl to me. The Bills, they're going to still be competitive. The Jets, yeah. So then it's the Patriots. I think that they can. I think right now they're hovering around like that third place, and we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right, pull up a super chat. Okay, hold on. There we go. Now we got it. Yeah, Jets. But I believe in Aaron Glenn. Like Aaron Glenn, I think could steer that ship in the right direction. Ownership, I don't know if I have a ton of faith in, but ultimately, I think the Jets have their best opportunity at succeeding with Aaron Glenn. So we'll see. Well, we'll see. He's back.
Gotta be top five, longest P ever.
I talked about the Patriots, so I just
happened to our entire layout.
I changed it to the clickbait one because they rioted, they got angry. Okay, we're back. Go ahead. Yeah, I couldn't control your screen because you had it.
Yeah.
So. Patriots. How you feel about the Patriots? I like what they're doing because they're spending the money that they had, and Milton Williams. I like that one, and Matt Collins.
No, Matt Collins, he's a good receiver for Drake May. You get a tackle on Morgan Moses, good. Spillane, I thought he was very good for the Raiders. Carlton Davis, I think he'll be solid opposite Christian Gonzalez.
Yes.
You don't want Davis to be your number one, but I think he's an elite number two. Landry, also solid.
Yes. I concur. Saints. Hello, my friend, we meet again.
Can you take me higher?
All right, Saints.
B minus.
I really like that Justin Reed signing.
No, that's fine.
I do like that.
In terms of keeping like a bunch of players, this has less to do with the players they signed and brought back versus like what I think the Saints should be doing. But I think B minus is generous.
As long as it's cheap, WDN. Because I don't think Cooper Kupp is saving any wide receiver rooms.
Yeah.
But sorry, continue. You think it's generous?
I think it's generous.
I'm more down on Chase Young than I think others.
They're just paying more people. They're gonna have the same problem again. It's the off season. They could have reset. They chose not to.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Juwan Johnson. They're keeping some pieces, which I think whoever eventually is going to be their quarterback, in these next few years, I'll be. Singing some Savior. Come on now. Oh,
Giants.
So they gave more guaranteed money to Holland than the Packers gave to Xavier McKinney last year. So nailed it. But they needed to go and build back up that secondary a little bit more. They went, oh my God, hold on. I had it. Tyler Nubin. They drafted him last year. He had some struggles, but with a Debo, I like that pickup too. They're making their secondary better. They just need to figure out what the hell their offense is going to look like.
Yeah. I like how yesterday Adam was like, we didn't spend much money.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money on Holland. Yep.
Does Adam and Scooter pay attention to what their football teams actually do? I think Scooter knew way more about what the Cowboys were doing than Adam had any fucking clue about the Giants. Just fair.
I think it was also just trying to pivot for Scooter and just being like, hey, we're spending. We are active. We are active.
Holland and Paulson, those are two good signings.
Yes.
Now Adebo's coming off of, he broke his femur. So and that's the big bone. That's the big one. Should heal from it. But that's like the concern when you break the biggest bone in your body.
I love
little scary.
Through 4 seasons and it just ends on a cliffhanger.
We forgot to finish writing.
That's fair. Fair. Jets, Josh Myers, he's a starter, and you paid him $3.5 million. So he's a starter. You got depth there. The Jets, I don't believe in anything. I just need to see what they are going to look like this year. They have so many options of what they can do. Justin Fields, I think, is fine as a bridge quarterback because I don't know how competitive the Jets were going to be this year. It's just going to be, can you pry that window back open?
He's an expensive bridge.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for 20, because what, he's got 30 guaranteed? Yeah, I mean, you need somebody. You need, unless you're, Zach Wilson wasn't coming back.
No, I'm not. Wait, is it? Yeah.
No, Sherwood, I think, is a good signing. Like bringing
He
him
was on the
back.
Jets, right? He was going to leave.
So
they brought him back. I was hoping the Broncos were going to go after Jamin.
Coping and seething.
Sometimes I forget if I think a guy is actually good or if I just want him on my team because of the name.
That's fair. But no, he's pretty damn good. So I think ultimately, like, these are the pieces they need to hold on to.
Because he's good, or because I wanted to say Jam and Sherwood and make a lot of wordplay.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I do sit down to pee, but it's just so I can look at my phone. I don't bidet when I pee, Kevin. Let's not get let's be respectful.
That's a tougher hole to aim that bidet water into, and I don't think that would be
backwards on the toilet.
Oh, okay.
This is not to clean out your pee hole. You keep getting
like, don't tell me how I use it
because you're using the bidet to clean out your pee hole.
Philadelphia Eagles.
There are a lot of people are leaving now.
Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they brought back Timmy P. The Eagles obviously lost some players, but Zach Bond coming back. I think that was kind of one of their most necessary re-signings. Saquon Barkley gets a much-deserved extension. So it's not but like, they have the depth. I don't think they're like, are you actually worried about the Eagles? Because I'm not.
No.
Like, I think they're going to be fine. And they draft well. So it's kind of just, I understand, like, losing Sweat, losing Williams is not ideal. It's not great. But
why are you worried about losing Williams? You've got Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis on that line.
I think it'll be fine.
Jalen Hayeks, like, they're gonna draft well. Zach Bond coming back is huge. You trust that organization more than anybody. Yeah. Steelers, B-. Also, I would say generous. Yeah. Very generous.
Who do you think? Offensive line and wide receivers. That's what. But the O-line, I think, is going to be the most. I mean, they
draft
need
Will Campbell. Take your tackle.
And go get some receivers. Yeah, please. 100%.
Yeah. I don't mind Mason going back to Pittsburgh.
I like Mason back to Pittsburgh. You know, a lot of Steelers fans were like, after he left, he's like, I just wish nothing but the best for Mason. So before you get Aaron Rodgers, that'll be going. Darius Slay, it's a 1-year deal. He's 34 now. Like, he's getting up there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think you're going to get some decent play out of him. DK, of course, is the big trade.
This is great if they have a quarterback.
Yes, you're not wrong.
If they don't sign Rodgers or even Russell Wilson, the DK Metcalf trade is going to be so funny. It is going to be so funny to give up what they gave up to get him, to pay him, and then not I think they will get Aaron Rodgers because of this, but part of me hopes they don't, because then this move is really funny. It's very funny.
Here's the thing with the Steelers, right? I was talking about this with Treat. If they go and draft a quarterback in the first round,
Who do they pick? They're at pick 21.
Yeah, they're not. They're later.
I mean, it would be better if they were at 20, because that's where they took Kenny Pickett. I wouldn't mind it if Jackson Dart is the guy and they take him at 21. That's fine. I'd rather spend that draft pick on a quarterback than whiff on a quarterback via a trade, or paying a lot in free agency for a veteran guy who doesn't work out. But
I hope it works out. I mean, just the Steelers need a quarterback, man. Like they just, and they're going to be bringing Aaron Rodgers. Like I don't think they're winning a Super Bowl. They're just going to be more competitive, and you're going to be back in the same thing after a year or two. You know, so it is. I mean, you look at some of the teams that are like in QB hell right now. Like the Steelers are there, and they're still finding ways to be competitive, right? They're still finding ways to make the postseason. The Colts are on that list too. Of they're going round and round, but at least you might have the guy on the roster. At least there's that potential hope. But yeah, where you end up with Rodgers, like again, they'll be competitive this year, but I don't know if that's the best thing they need right now. So I don't know. 49ers, yeah, it's tough times. Let's see what the hell they do with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I think the Niners too, it looks worse than it really is in terms of like, I think what the Niners are doing. They're getting younger, they're getting cheaper. But it doesn't take away the sting of losing like all these guys that you liked.
Mm-hmm.
Even if like fullback Kyle Juszczyk, just parting ways with a guy who's been like, I don't know, iconic in the franchise. Like that doesn't happen with fullbacks. Losing a fullback's probably not a big deal. The way the Niners used him, he's worth more than most fullbacks will be worth in any other situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a pain, a pain year, a growing year. And I think in 2026, it'll look smart. And actually, Demarcus Robinson, that's not a bad pickup. He had a few nice games with the Rams last year, really stepped up. Like when it was like Puka Nacua came back, and then it was like Demarcus Robinson had a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp came back, and then it was Demarcus Robinson having a nice game. So I think he's a decent receiver, but
I think it's the 49ers, like just their window right now is not open, right? Like they had their best shot was to win a Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they didn't. You know, they were able to make it to another Super Bowl, but now it's like, all right, some of those contracts, some of those veteran guys, like it's come due, and it's going to be, I know Shanahan has gotten some crap from 49ers fans, but this is going to be like, all right, like how good is that front office? Because now we got to try and open a window again, and what that's going to look like, and what Brock Purdy is going to look like, etc. And Big Bro, my favorite Patriots player, probably Teddy Bruschi, maybe. Like Teddy, he's a good player. So
it's Gronk. It's not even close.
Bruschi. Oh,
It's not even close. Brewski's respectable, but
I like Bruschi. They're saying my favorite. Yeah, Gronk was just incredible to watch.
Gronk was the only Patriot I could like while they were good. And I liked Wes Welker too, but then he came to the Broncos, so everybody's gonna think I'm biased, but I liked him before that.
Seahawks, I like DeMarcus Lawrence. I like him even more now. He just gets extra bonus points just because of what happened. MVS is a field stretcher, you know, like if anything. JSN is obviously going to be like your number one guy. They're going to have to go and get another wide receiver in the draft. But build up your O-line. I'll feel a lot better about this. A lot better. You're getting Sam Darnold for the price that you wanted to go get Geno Smith. I don't think it necessarily makes you better, but it makes you at least competitive. So while they figure out what their future is going to be, because I think they were just going to do this next year and move on from Geno Smith, they're doing it a year earlier. They get Darnold at the price and now build a supporting cast around him. And whoever is your quarterback for the future within the next season or two, they're going to benefit from that. But you got to crush it in the draft.
Yeah. Sam Darnold had a good press conference for the Seahawks.
He did.
I'm hoping he plays well. I feel like he's gotten more shit for 2 bad games than I've seen a quarterback get for a single season, right? It's those 2 games plus like everything that was before him going to Minnesota. But I hope he's closer to the guy we watched before those last 2 games. I hope it works out for Seattle.
I think the only issue is, Perna,
I hope it doesn't work out for the Raiders with Geno.
The Seahawks and Vikings have the same problem of the interior, right? Like if they have that, like that's my concern there. So that's where they have to try and fix.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Gronk's funny though. Gronk's lovable. Gronk's more lovably dumb. Kelsey's more Travis. I love Jason Kelsey. Travis more broy douche. Lovable, broy douche. Lovable, broy douche. On the field, as a Chief, I actually find Travis Kelce likable on the podcast. That's probably closer to who he is as a person.
This is true.
Football player, big. What's a good word for bro and douche? I want to smash them together. I want a new term. New term. I just laughs at everything. How can you not like that?
Buccaneers bringing back Chris Godwin. First of all, thank God. I'm very happy about that. I want him and Mike Williams to play forever with one another. Chad is what Johnny's saying.
Chad?
Yeah,
oh,
Chad.
Very douche.
But ultimately, the Buccaneers, like, I think they're going to be favored to win the South. We'll see what the Falcons wind up doing. But going against Hassan Reddick on a cheap deal, on a 1-year deal, I think that's not terrible. But Godwin, as long as he's able to come back from that injury strong, him and Evans retaining that duo, and Levante has come back, so I'm happy with them. But him and Mike Evans forever. They can retire as Buccaneers, and I'll be a very happy person. Titans are trying. They're going and getting O-line. I have no idea who's going to be throwing the football, but they're trying.
Yeah.
And that means something. I don't know who their weapons are. I don't know who they're going to who's going to throw the ball and who they're going to throw the ball to. But they're building up the O-line, and I'm always going to be a fan of that. Always. Are you high on the Titans? Because the Titans also just need to figure out what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I would say C+, closer to C+ for the Titans.
Mm.
I think Zeitler's a nice ad.
He's older, but yeah. Van down by the river, Jefferson.
Hell yeah.
Always. Worse
if Dan Moore is an average tackle for them, they add Zeitler. They get a little help on the line. If they can just show that they're going to protect the rookie quarterback, they're probably going to draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
Dan Moore, they grossly overpaid for, but that's what free agency is.
Yeah.
You know, like they are addressing the need. And if as long as he's like consistent there, they'll be all right. They'll be okay.
A- for the old Commanders.
Because I think the Commanders, they were another team, had a ton of money to spend, and they got rid of Jonathan Allen. The one thing I don't like that they did, because I love the Laramie Tunsil thing, because I think ultimately it's going to give them consistency over the tackle position, which is what they needed to do. But the one Kinlaw's the one I don't fully understand. That would be a good, at least a GPS offseason.
He hasn't been good.
Kinlaw, they spent a bunch of money on, and they didn't want to spend it on Allen, which, like, okay, I get. But then to turn around and do it for Kinlaw, I didn't like that one. So that I don't feel so great. I like them bringing back Bobby and Zach.
Yep.
But yeah, I think just going and getting stability at left tackle, already going to be pretty darn good.
And I think Debo's going to be good in that offense.
The jury's still out.
He's going to be good with Jaden Daniels.
I hope for his sake and for
I
Washington.
guarantee it.
Well, we went over an hour and a half today.
Yeah. Hold on. I wanted to show you one thing before we leave.
I want to know. But yeah, Commanders. I'm very curious how they're going to play this year. I'm excited. You might have like a little sophomore slump, but
did I not?
What do you got? Washington's an old roster that they need to do well in the draft. You know,
here it is.
At the most important position, they're young, which is solid, but.
So I mentioned it earlier, and guess who bit on the bait, Tom?
What's up? Oh
Oops.
no. What'd you do?
Russell Wilson responding to the Good Morning Football segment. They landed it.
They got him.
Made a 22-minute video defending that man. Showing this show shitting on him. How dare you, Russ?
You need to reach out to Russell Wilson and be like,
dead to me, bro.
God, can you imagine who would be the greatest guest that we could possibly get on GPS, like ever? Tom Brady has to be up there, and I wouldn't even say anything. Like I literally would just sit back and wouldn't say a word.
Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes would be the best guests.
Patrick Mahomes would be good. I feel like Russ is up there because it would be good. It'd be such a weird dynamic, and it would be fantastic. Kupp to Denver. I don't think Kupp's going to Denver. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't think.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Bring on Travis Kelce after all that.
I would love to talk to Travis Kelce. Like I said, I think like I like him as the person he is on the podcast with Jason.
Sure.
As a football player and persona there, I fucking hate him. Both because he's good and because he's annoying.
Fair. Perna, what do you got coming out?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
I am going literally right from here. I'm going to the P.O. box to ship out all the drawings for the Darkness Retreat. I got them into the loaders. So I will email everybody the tracking numbers today. I should have time. Hopefully I do. I got to go pick up Daphne, my dad's dog. But I do have to go and I really want to make this skit. It's bothering me that it's taken so long to get out. So Moosey's feeling better. We're rocking. But folks, I already got that one. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Pokemon Master Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destiny. Oh, God, I want Mike McDaniel on here.
Oh, McDaniel on here. There you go.
Oh, they're talking about Mike Daniels.
Yeah, because
I just thought Mike McDaniel.
that was an off there.
Okay.
I want to be